you know, when I started watching Sons, and then when I booked Mayans, I just became aware of, you know, you become aware of you know, Jax Teller and Jax Teller's butt. And I'm doing a lot of squats.
Your father is a cop, so yeah. How does it take the fact that you are a criminal in this show?
Yeah, you know, I mean, he loves the show. He loves it, and but it's always been interesting to me that you know, and in some of our casts too, we have some people who have served time, and here I am, the son of a cop. So it's but we are united by this story. We are united by just the fact that we've all been blessed to be a part of the follow-up to Sons of Anarchy, which is just a massive, successful worldwide show, and we just want to keep delivering for the fans.
You said that when you used your full name, you couldn't get a job very easily. Shakespeare says in Romeo and Juliet, a rose is a rose. You are still you, but why in your opinion a name is still so important today?
You know, it's a great question. I think that, you know, I think a lot has changed today in the business, but at the same time, maybe a lot hasn't changed. You know, for me, it was different because my name is Jorge Daniel, right? And during that time when I started acting, look, Hollywood is very stereotypical, you know, and especially during that time, it was, they had their image or their perception of what a Latino looked like. And so I'm not of Mexican descent, and I think, I don't know why it is, but for whatever reason, they felt like I didn't look Latino. They felt like I was half white. And so for them, I just couldn't, you know, they couldn't see past my look and my name. It just didn't make sense to them. And so when I changed it to J.D. Pardo, it made me ambiguous, I think, so that I could just audition and I can get those opportunities. And you know, it's still, you know, I don't know. It is what it is. But hopefully that changes.
In Sons of Anarchy, towards the end, the show becomes a bloodbath, a real bloodbath.
Yeah.
Because we are used to Game of Thrones, it's a bloodbath, we know it. But in Sons of Anarchy was unexpected.
Yeah.
What do we have to expect for Mayans? Are you ready for an eventual bloodbath?
I'm ready for all of it. You know, I think that there was so much that, you know, when I started watching Sons, and then when I booked Mayans, I just became aware of, you know, you become aware of you know, Jax Teller and Jax Teller's butt. And, you know, so I knew at some point I'd probably be in the nude as well. But as you said, like, look, they live in a very dark world. They operate in a dark world. And that's what I appreciate about Kurt Sutter and the writing, is that it's very real. I think that if you live by the sword, you can also die by the sword. And so all these characters, you don't know what's going to happen, but anything can happen.
Since you mentioned it, are you afraid of the comparison, the butt comparison? Why?
No, I'm doing a lot of squats, so you know, the fear drives me. But look, it's no, you know, I mean, I think that if anything, I feel that first of all, those actors are incredible actors. You know, everybody from Katie Seagal, Charlie Hunnam. I mean, all those actors were incredible, and they made an incredible show. They earned the legacy. They earned it with 7 seasons. And so for me, I'm grateful to them because we wouldn't be here today without them. I want those actors to be proud of what we're doing. So for me, I want to work extra hard, and I want to create our own legacy because we have to be our own show. But I also want to honor them for their work, and I want to honor the fans.
You said that Daniel Day-Lewis is an actor that you look up to as a reference. So he's an actor that for a role spent 3 months in Italy doing shoes, making shoes to get prepared. So I want to know, are you doing the same for this role? What do you do to really get into the skin of your character?
You know, I think of, when I think of a character, especially for Easy, what I wanted to just get inside his heart. I wanted to get inside that mind and why he is who he is today. And I think that you have to go back to the beginning of who that person was and then what that person lost. And so for me, I think about the voice, I think about the walk, I think about, I like to think about animals when I think of a character's body, because it informs me of their walk, you know? Like I'm giving my life to that character, but I don't want people to see me. I want them to see the character. And so for me, I feel like a lot happened to Easy when he was in prison. So I focused on prison. I focused on a lot of those documentaries and films about like Straight Time with Dustin Hoffman, just how they portrayed people coming out of prison and just the effect that it had on their minds and physically. You know, I felt like Easy became this animal in prison. He had to become it, and he didn't want to be, but it's a product of being a human being in survival mode. So that's what I focused on.
Which animal are you right now?
For me, Easy, I felt like Easy it became sort of this like gorilla. I felt like he became like an ape a little bit, you know? Like when I thought about the prison and I thought about him being behind bars, I just felt like this this animal, this like an ape being put into a cage. And you know, I remember one time I was at the zoo and you know, there's like this gorilla just kind of like by this rock. And he's just kind of looking around and everyone's like taking pictures. And then like his eyes just kind of like came over to me. And I immediately like brought my head down because it's intimidating, you know, and he didn't have to say anything. It was just a look. And so for me, I wanted to focus on, because in prison, these guys communicate with their eyes. They're not saying a lot because they have to keep things, you know, it has to be a secret and with officers around. So there's not a lot being said, but there's a lot being said with their eyes and how they're looking at each other. And so for me, that felt very animal. And so I wanted to carry that on with Easy.